Hey guys, I'm back for the next part of the Sonic Forces speedrun tutorial, and in this part we're going to be going over Egg Gate, which is the next modern Sonic stage. So, let's get into it. Alright, so I'm just gonna get over here real quick. Alright, so Egg Gate is the first stage with a major skip, like a skip that is actually like saves a significant amount of time compared to not doing it. Before we get into that though, I'm just going to show you the beginning of the stage as usual, so let me just restart. So as soon as the stage begins, you're going to want to just do a boost, and then you're going to, alright, so, actually I'll just, yeah. Alright, so you see how there's a trail of rings that ended around here? You're going to want to do a quick double jump over the gap that's right over here, and then you want to do another jump over this gap right here. Like, the point is to never fall down to this bottom path or to touch these boxes, because then those put you up into this spring here and you don't want that. So yeah, there's two ways you can do that. You can either do a double jump or you can just do a jump while you're boosting. I'll do the jump while I'm boosting method first. Show you that. Just boosting. I do a short jump, when I get there. Or you can do a series of double jumps, like double jump, like that. Either way works really. They're both about the same speed. I personally go for the boost jump just because it's slightly easier and it's more safe, but whatever floats your boat, you know? Anyway, we're going to get right into the skip. We're going to go to the area where the skip is located, and to do that, we're going to be doing a rail jump. We're going to be jumping off of the rail and then boosting. So, right here. As soon as Sonic gets to the and right here, as you can see, the camera is starting to shift. You're going to want to jump and then do a boost forward. Just like that. And then you're going to want to homing attack onto that rail, or the spring. You're going to want to homing attack these two guys. Alright, well, actually I don't have to pause here. So what you're going to want to do when you land here after stomping on the last badnik is to face like northeast and then land on the platform that you can see in the distance to the right where the number ring is. You really just want to do a boost jump there. It's an angled boost jump. You want to be going in this direction, you know, northeast. And then you're going to direct yourself with the analog stick to that platform over there. So let's give it a shot right here. I'm going to face that way. And just like that. And go backwards, just like that. So yeah, this is definitely one of the things I need to practice the most, besides the skip itself. The skip itself is a whole other thing, but in terms of getting to that platform, this is something I also stumble sometimes, like for example, like that can happen. You just bump into that wall and then you fall into your death instead. There's a few ways that jump can go wrong. This is one of the easier strats you can do to get over to that platform, and like all of them, I mean, you can still mess it up from time to time. It's not really a big deal compared to failing the skip itself, however. So anyways, you do the jump over here, you stomp over here, and yeah. Oh, did you know you can destroy those meteors? Yeah. I didn't know that for a while either. Alright, so we're going to be getting into the skip itself now. So what you want to do, I'm going to be going over the simplest form of the skip that I can explain. Basically, you're going to want to start by these two fence things here. You're going to want to get rid of them. Well, I mean, just this one, you don't really, that doesn't matter, but either way, get rid of that fence right here, because that'll impede your boost jump otherwise. And what you're going to want to do is this skip at the beginning, it relies on going into a boost jump and then staying in your ball form and then maneuvering around the death plane and then floating over to the end of the stage. Now, I'm going to be going over the first part here, which is doing a boost jump and then hovering around the death plane. So I'm going to fail it on purpose right here. So right there, you notice those rails that were down there in the distance? That's where Sonic goes down. Those are the rails that take Sonic downwards into the next section of the level, assuming you don't do the skip and you go through the level normally. That happens if you go too far north, basically, because the death plane is entirely surrounding those rails. You don't want to get too close to it, basically. You want to make sure you maneuver close enough to it that you can safely, like, hover. Well, you're not really flying, you're just kind of hovering downwards to the next, to the end of the level. You want to make sure you don't get too close to it. show that in a sec, so I'm just going to get back there and I'll cut to that. Alright, so I'm going to get into the skip itself now. So you see, I'm trying to point it out. So you see where Sonic is standing right now. There's actually in the video, I'm in the video editing. I'll like put a circle over it. But there's a line that I'm standing on right here, which is what I use personally to make sure I'm on the right position. I'm standing in the relative area of it right now. I'm just going back and forth on it. So basically what I do, after you clear out those two fences, you want to do a quick boost jump. Remember, so it's X and A, and then, yeah, it's just X and A, and then you use the analog stick to direct yourself where you want to go. In this case, you want to take a sort of northeast, and then you want to snap northeast when you're doing the jump, and then you want to snap down to southeast. So I get around, like, down here, and then when I get to this part of the line is when I do the boost jump. Or you can do it when you're already here, and you can, like... The reason I don't do it when I'm up here most of the time is because it's, like, a very small space to work with. You have to do the boost jump in this tiny little box right here. So, for safety, I like to do it from down here. And then I do it around here. So, let's give it a shot right here. So, I'm going to walk up to this part right here, and then I'm going to press X and A very quickly, and then I'm going to hover over around the rail right there. Alright, so in that part right there, I was holding upright, or northeast, whatever you want to say. And now, as you see the big planetoid moon thing that I'm in front of, so now I'm going to be holding a more downright position. And the camera is going to snap back and forth like that. Not really much you can do about it. Alright, so those buildings in the distance, you might have seen at the bottom on the tilted rails. So this is the part that's sort of hard to gauge. What I mean by that is you see how like literally everything in the level just kind of blinked out of existence. Now, they're still there, it's just that for whatever reason, when the camera gets a certain way, they'll just like pop in and out. And there's not really a good way to tell if that'll happen or not. But I use those buildings down there as an indication of when I can start holding forward to get to the rail that's at the end of the level so I can stomp on it. So I'm going to go through the skip right here as is, and then I'm going to see if I can cut to when the buildings are visible so I can give you a better indication of when you can start holding forward to get to the next rail. So right there, you see I was doing that basically blind because I didn't have my usual visual indicator, and that's really just something that happens. The double jump I did after I unpaused was unintentional. I didn't mean to do that, but besides that, that was a very blind way of doing that skip. So like I said, now I'm going to just cut over to when I'm doing the skip where the buildings are still visible. Alright, so I'm in a decent position right here. The buildings might still pop in and out, but that just kind of happens sometimes depending on your angle. What I'm really focused on is, well, I'm paused, because I don't want to risk them disappearing again, but you see those two buildings on the bottom that have those disc shapes or those circular shapes? That's what I look for. So as soon as Sonic gets to the right side of those is when I start holding forward. So let's see if I can get a good angle of that. Okay. Alright, so right here. You see Sonic has just completely passed those circular buildings now. So right here is when I'm going to start holding forward. So the buildings popped up, or popped out, so you can't see it. I'm going to start holding forward. And then about 2 seconds after I'm holding forward is when I hold up and left, so I can make my way to the rail. Alright, so I think I held it a little too tightly, but now this is probably the hardest part of the skip, in my opinion at least, is actually landing on the rail at the end of the level, because this is what confounds even me to this day, because there are just days where I do runs where I just cannot land on this rail for the life of me, and there are other days where I land on it every time. It really just, there are really only two ways of doing this. You can either try to gauge where you'll land and then stomp right when you're way up into the air here. Well, it's not air because you're in space, but or you can also just try to maneuver yourself while still in the ball form to land on the rail that way. Either way, the main goal at this point is just to land on the rail. So you can either stomp or try to land on it manually. It's stomping is the faster method, of course, but whatever works better for you, especially as a beginner, I would personally recommend landing on it manually, just to be on the safe side, more or less. I'm just going to save myself here using a boost. And then you're more than likely going to land on a part of the rail where those, what do you call them, those like miniature ships don't spawn, so you just want to do a jump backwards. There's really no danger of falling off here, by the way. All you have to do is just hold down and then just press jump a few times, and then Sonic will be in the opposite direction. And then you should still have some boosts left, so you just want to boost backwards to where the ships start to spawn. And as soon as the ships appear, you want to jump forwards again, so just hold up and then jump on the rail. And then that ship will appear on the right, and you just want to homing attack it. Just like that. And then this part is, it's a QTE, so it's self-explanatory. Just mash A, basically. And then for this part, Sonic's can be falling down into the air, Shadow the Hedgehog style. All you have to do in these sections is just hold X. Hold forward and X. And then Sonic is going to get out of his falling animation, and you want to mash the B button to stomp. So I'm just mashing it right there. He stomped as soon as he got out of it. And then all you have to do here is just boost to the end. Or do a boost jump. That. And there we go. And that's Egg in a nutshell. For reference, doing this speedrunning this stage without the skip usually takes around a minute 55. So even if you get, like, I mean, I was explaining this and like doing a bunch of other stuff, but even if you get this, a 124, that would be a lot better than the casual or no skip speedrun like 2-minute-esque version of Egg. So this is definitely one of the essential skips you have to learn. Anyway, before I do the run through of the stage while I explain, I'm going to go through the trouble sections, just like I have for the previous parts, so let's go into those. So I'm just going to be going over this part here, where you jump off the rail, and then homing attack, or then boost, and then homing attack to the spring, and then where you do the boost jump to the platform where you do the skip. So remember, in this part, as soon as the camera starts to pan, or starts to switch angles, then that's when you want to do a jump, and then a boost to the spring. Just homing attack the spring, and then you'll homing attack these two badniks, and then you'll stomp after you hit the last one, and then you do the northeast boost jump to the platform over there where you can see the number ring and the springs in the distance. And then you want to stomp. You don't want to not stomp. You want to stomp when you land over the platform, otherwise it just, you'll end up over there. So here I want to cover a few common mistakes that people make when trying to go into the ball form here. Usually, so I'm just going right into it. So with this, usually it's a mix of either not pressing the button combination fast enough, so remember, I won't do it here because I'll die, but it's just X and A. It's not A then X, and it's not X, wait a second, and then A. It's XA, like XA, like XA. Like, you have to do it really fast, otherwise you're not going to get the boost jump. You might do it too close, and then you won't be able to get the jump portion. Either way, there's a few different ways you can mess this up. One common thing that even happens to me sometimes is I get the boost jump, but I don't hold far right enough, and instead I just end up either landing on the rail in the distance that takes me to the regular part of the stage, or I just fall to my death. So you want to remember, as soon as you do the boost jump, you want to hold an upright position, and then you want to snap down right. So I'm going to do boost jump, upright, and then here's a good position to do it. Right here is when I'm going to start snapping down right. And then when I get into the section here, where you can just see everything in this angle, is when I start holding right. Just like a sharp right. No down right, no up right. I'm just holding right here. Alright, and these buildings right there, like I said in the distance, I'm going to wait until Sonic bypasses them in the distance. Or like how you can see his ball form has passed by the buildings entirely, is when I'm going to start holding up to get to the rail. There we go. Holding up, wait a second, and then up right, or up left, up left. And there's the rail. So let's see if I can stomp on it. There we go. Oh, that's a weird angle. Alright, so what you want to do is stomp in this area of the rail. Now what I did was actually a very risky way. In that curved part of the rail is a very... you don't want to find yourself there usually. It's more often than not you'll just fall to your death because it's very awkward to land on that section of the rail. So before I go into the run through of the stage, I'm going to cut to a part where I land on this section of the rail. So here I'm in a good position to land on the farther part of the rail, holding up left here. Alright, so here's the rail. I'm gonna let go of the ball form actually to make it a little easier on myself. I'm gonna stomp here, and there we go. Now I'm going to be jumping backwards, so Sonic faces the right way. I'm gonna do a little boost there, and as soon as the ships appear, I'm gonna jump forward again. Then I'm gonna homing attack this one, and there we go. That's landing on the rail, and then homing attacking on the ship in a nutshell. So that section is done out of the way. QTE, like always, is just mandatory, or self-explanatory, you just mash A. But either way, I'm going to now cut to the run-through of the stage where I explain everything as I go. So let's take a look at that. So I'm going to start off with 2 boost jumps over these little pits here. And then once I get onto the rail, I'm going to do a jump and then a boost to the spring in the distance. I'm going to homing attack these badniks and then jump over to this platform and do a boost jump. Then I'll do the skip here. And once I get to this part, I'm going to just hold right. Camera's being funky. Alright, now I'm going to hold forward after I pass those buildings. Then after a second, I'm going to hold up left. See the rail in the distance there. I'm going to let go of ball form to make it easier on myself. There we go. And then I'm going to jump backwards. Just do a little boost there. And then I'm going to jump forwards as soon as the ships appear. And I'm going to homing attack these guys. And then from here on out, for this section, it's just the QTEs. Just gotta mash for these unless you care about those points for whatever reason. And last thing, I'm going to be holding X for this free fall section, and I'm going to be mashing B so I can stomp as soon as I'm out of it. Then I'm just going to boost to the goal. And there we go, that's it. Now that safe strat at the end, letting go of ball form to slowly land onto the rail, cost me several seconds, which is why this time is a little lower, or a little higher than I would like it to be. But, like I said, the time that you would normally get doing this casually is around a 1:55 to a 2-minute time, so I think this would be a really good time for a beginner. What you usually want to aim for when you get better at this stage is around anywhere from a 1:14 to a 1:18. So a 120 isn't too far off. That would be a perfect starting point for learning this stage. But either way, that was Eggate. And as always, if you guys have any questions, comments, want anything clarified, if you think I didn't clarify anything enough, then by all means, just let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next level about Arsenal Pyramid.